up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. We are here still at CES in Las Vegas for 2023, and guess what? Ram dropped the bombshell. We knew it was coming, but this is the first time we get to see it in the flesh. What is it all about? It's this vehicle right here. This is the first ever Ram Revolution BEV. But before we get into this full-on Ram truck that has full electrification, let's talk about what's going on here. The industry is changing. You would have to be living under a rock to not see all of the electrified vehicles that are coming from a multitude of different brands. Of course, one of those segments in the auto industry is the mighty truck. And we've already seen what some of the brands are doing, like GMC flexing their muscles, bringing the Hummer EV truck to market to really showcase all of the craziness that what an electric truck could be. Then we saw the Ford Lightning and Ford taking a more traditional F-150 route with their electrified truck to really make people feel comfortable getting into an electric Ford vehicle. Well, guess what? Chevy Silverado EV, of course, we brought to you with a lot of changes and a lot of versatility with some unique features. And then on top of that, we have brought you the GMC Sierra Denali EV. Well, guess what? Now it's Stellantis' turn, Mopar or no car, of course, and that's where we get this Ram Revolution. So what I want to find out is, has Ram picked the right direction for their truck, their electrified truck, when comparing it to the competition, specifically that Chevy Silverado EV and the Ford Lightning? Let's go ahead, let's find out what this Ram Revolution is about and see, is it the truck of the future you're gonna wanna park in your driveway? Let's go ahead and find out. Right off the bat, the dimensions. It has that Ram feel, but you know that it has a unique presence to it. Starting at the front of the business, one thing that I have been professing over and over again is that when it comes to electrification, one way that different manufacturers are gonna make their vehicles unique is when it comes to LED signature lighting. And that's what you're gonna find right off the bat. These tuning forks, daytime running lamps that really accentuate the front of the Ram Revolution. I also love the way everything is kind of sealed within this headlight housing, but then there's a housing behind it, which is kind of cool, that has all of that LED headlight turn signal, all of that contained together. But definitely, like I said, having that tuning fork design shows that width, and then it kind of brings it into that front where we'd normally find a grille, but obviously we'll talk more about that. Now, you'll notice on this particular vehicle how it has that nice flared fender look. I think that's a great direction that Ram is going in. We have our lower LED fog lamps, nicely dropped in, and I'm also digging this almost like flat gray color rather than gloss black or anything like that, because that's one of the things compared to, say, the GMC Sierra EV or the Silverado EV, a lot of gloss black. Here, I'm liking the flat accents just a little bit more. Now, when we come across the front, I mean, you would have to be blind to not know what the heck is coming at you. That's that Ram Revolution. Love the way that they not only took the badge, but then accentuated it by putting that LED lighting all the way around. And then, of course, because of the sheer width of this vehicle, DOT required the extra LED signature lights at the top because of that width. Now, as we kind of drop down, as we're here at CES, you could see that functionality part, because remember, we have a liquid-cooled lithium-ion battery pack. Of course, twin motors to get that 4x4 setup on it. And then you'll see just how much ground clearance that we have at the front of this Ram. Now, as we rise back up, if you're wondering, well, Joe, is Ram doing a front-mounted trunk, or what a lot of people call a frunk? You would be correct. So this would obviously electrically open. You have tons of storage capability. And one thing that I noticed from the photos that were given to us is that there's actually a pass-through, which is kind of cool. So normally you would be confined to a certain rectangular shape underneath that front-mounted trunk area. But what they do is they have a pass-through to get some longer items that actually go into the center of the vehicle. Kind of cool to have those features. I also love the way they did the bulge. Even though we don't have the internal combustion engine V8 power, you're still gonna get your bulge, and I love the way they got the badging on the side. Very, very muscular look, but definitely showing that contemporary feel of what's going on. Now I'm gonna go ahead and kind of swing around and jump on up to the display. We do have permission, so everything, I signed all the paperwork. What you're gonna have on this particular truck are these 24-inch wheels. Absolutely love what they did with the style. Of course, the Ram badge. I think the way that they work the font and the lettering really works out well, like I said, to show that electrified route that they're taking, but the real unique design, and of course that this wheel not only has that unique design for style, but it's also for, of course, that airflow, because this is a large vehicle. We got to make sure that we get that range, and one way to get a nice range is by having a slippery shape, and that's one of the ways that we could do that. So it's 24-inch wheel, and if you're wondering, well, what's the size of this tire? You're looking at 325 on the width, and this is a 45 series sidewall on a 24-inch wheel. So really, really crazy, the sheer size. And then another thing you'll notice is very, very low on the flat black. So around the fender opening, you have that traditional Ram opening to the shape, but very limited on the flat black, and then everything else is color matched. Of course, you're gonna have your charge port door mounted up front, and then look at the way they, like I said, with the electrified vehicles, they're gonna use that LED lighting to really bring a personality to the vehicle. Really love the way they work the Ram badging into the side door. Now, one thing I'm gonna actually have Lori do is come up on the display with me and kind of swing it around, because I want her to showcase how this door is coming off of the flared fender, but also check out the side mirror, or as I actually should say, lack of a side mirror. What you're seeing there is a camera setup. So this would actually project onto the screen to let you see what's going on. I even love the way Lori's gonna kind of show the details of how it's mounted to the door. Really, really unique, and this is something that Ram does very, very well, along with the other Stellantis vehicles, is the attention to detail. Now, as we come down the side, we have, of course, flush mounted door handles. You're gonna have your stationary running boards, and I love the way that they integrate them. Instead of just taking that big, long, rectangular block and just slapping it on, they really gave it that aerodynamic flow, but you could also see that it is a running board. Now, if you're wondering, well, Joe, what's going on with the handles here? Why are both of them back to back like that? We actually have this wonderful, like, grand saloon opening doors. So the rear doors are actually suicide doors, and those are gonna swing all the way out 90 degrees, both front and back. And guess what? We have our special team here that's gonna open these doors for us so that we could look at what Ram is bringing with the interior, because as we know, going back to 2019, when they won the North American Truck of the Year with that Ram 1500, a lot of it had to do with what Ram does with the interiors. Now, on the side here, love the rear cab. It's something that's showing this different direction that we're going in, to where you could have that usual truck look, but this is something new. And one of the biggest things that Ram has done with this truck that no other truck, Lightning, Silverado EV, the GMC Sierra EV Denali, it's got 3-row seating. It actually has jump seats in the back of the cab, and we're gonna show you, like I said, a little bit more detail with that. You'll notice that nice flared fender look. You have storage capability underneath these fenders, and then coming around the rear, I'm actually gonna have Lori beat me there as I step down off of the display, is they finish off the back with this signature lighting that is just absolutely stunning. So you're gonna have your red LEDs that start in the center with the Ram badge, drip down onto the sides of the width of that bed, and then of course the Revolution, that being that big change with battery electric operation. And then you'll see the split in the center, because those doors are gonna swing open just like the side doors to give you a multitude of different space, sizes to be able to fit inside that vehicle. And then as we kind of come down, of course, super clean underneath. And I like the way they kept it nice and clean on the back instead of just showing off these big, huge control arms. It really shows that aero, not only that goes up and around the vehicle, but also underneath. And then of course, with that bed operation. But why don't we go ahead, let me get my special team together here at Ram, and we're gonna open up We're gonna crack open this nut and see what's inside the new Ram Revolution. All right, guys, we have the doors swung open for us. You can see by having that split Grand Saloon style, it really is gonna open up access in and out of the Ram Revolution. You'll notice the electric dropping running boards, which is really nice to help with getting in and out. But of course, there's a lot of questions about what is the price gonna be? What is the range? If you do your math, Ram is no fool. They are gonna be very competitive with what they bring to market. My guess, just like the Silverado EV is gonna be around $97,000, I think you're gonna find, at least at the beginning, that top trim is gonna be close to that $100,000 mark. But let's see what you're gonna be getting and how it stacks up to the competition. To the door panels, I absolutely love what they've done. No exterior buttons. Everything is nice, smooth touch. You have a door pocket that can fit 2 meatball parm subs from Subway in that door pocket. And I love the lighting. You notice the signature lighting up top, how it waterfalls down, all of the stitching, the Alcantara material. This is what Ram has done since day one with changing how people view trucks. Now, when we go from the door panel to that massive infotainment system, what are we looking at? You're basically looking at a 20-inch screen space for that infotainment system. The bottom portion is actually removable, which is really cool, so that you could actually do things from the exterior with the actual touchscreen display that's removable. Of course, you're gonna have that air suspension. There's a shadow mode. There's an intelligent storage app to where you could actually have that information for what you could fit in the Ram, weight-wise, size-wise. It will actually allow you to scan it to see how it's gonna affect the truck and how it's gonna fit in the truck. You have, of course, charge ports that have wireless charging, all of those features, 4-wheel steer, and a self-leveling system with that quadra-lift suspension. This is that STLA body-on-frame truck architecture. What I like about the infotainment system is that it sticks with the horizontal setup, and then you have that second display that flows nicely into it. And I know the designer, Ryan, he did one heck of a job taking the interpretation of the current Ram 1500 and bringing it into the future. Nice clear graphics, toggle switches, tons of storage. That's one thing that Ram has been known for. You're gonna be able to put well over 38 Twinkies in that center console area with the Alcantara, the orange stitching, and everything else. And then look up top, we have that digital rear view mirror, which is gonna help with obviously backing up and directing. And then I love what they did with this glass roof. Really, really slick with the LED lighting. But you know what? It's not just about that passenger space, all the storage and the LED lighting. It's also about what the driver is going to experience. So why don't we go ahead? We got permission. We're going to see what it looks like when 6-foot-tall Joe Raiti sits in the Ram Revolution. All right, guys, this is an honor sitting inside the first ever Ram Revolution. Obviously, I have not been able to adjust my seat and everything. This is a pre-prototype concept, pre-production setup in here. But what I'm feeling is that magic that I felt when I got into a 2019 Ram 1500. It just has so much space. All of the materials and everything have been elevated to a new level. What's great about the steering wheel is that it will have the capability to actually fold and go into the dash. You'll also notice, I know it's going to be hard for Lori to show, but there's the screens for those side cameras instead of having side mirrors. Easy access to the infotainment system, both at the top and the bottom. Your toggle switches, your wireless charging, everything laid out very nicely in here. And what I'm digging is how it just goes windshield to panoramic glass roof. There is no divider there whatsoever. That style really showcases in this Ram. The pedal box, of course, lots of room, and when you go electric vehicle, totally flat floor. That's going to allow more passenger volume than even before. Your seat controls, but everything feels really good here. Why don't we go ahead, let's focus on the rear passengers, and then we're going to wrap it up, of course, with the bed of the truck. All right, guys, time for that back seat. And this is where there's some real magical things happening with the back seat. Well, first of all, let's look at the inside of the door panel. Like I said, that nice 90-degree flip out with the LED lighting and everything. And then look at what you're going to be greeted to as a passenger. You'll notice the track system. That's going to allow a level of versatility never ever before found in a truck. And then on top of that, I know Chevy Silverado EV was very proud about their folding midgate, that manual folding midgate. This actually has a power folding midgate. Plus, you'll notice in this area right there, that's where those jump seats are going to be. So these seats can move forward and then you pull them down just like on a plane, those jump seats, to actually get 3-row flexibility out of this first ever Ram Revolution. But very impressive. You got all your charge ports at the back of that center console area. I love the way they have all of the sculpted feel and features to it, but really nicely done with that overall setup. But you know what? We got 2 more places we want to show you. First, let's go to the bed of the truck and see what kind of room we have, and then we're going to finish off with the frunk on this Ram Revolution truck. All right, guys, we have that tailgate down. This is, like I said, you could open it different ways. So you could open it split door style, but we did it the more conventional style, obviously power folding tailgate. And what you're going to be greeted to is a workspace area where there's a lot of versatility with tie down options, things that you could put in and lock down. And then you'll notice on the driver's side that Ram power panel. That's going to allow you to use this as a generator, charge your house if you need to, if the power goes out, or where you're at work. Another thing I know we want to talk about is range. Now, no numbers official on range or power, but we know that with it being a Mopar Stellantis product, there's going to be high power that comes with it and high usability when it comes to that 4x4 all-wheel drive system, because we're going to have twin motors. I think the biggest piece of news I could give you is that with a DC fast charger, what Ram is shooting for is that in 10 minutes of charging, you'll get 100 miles worth of range. If that happens, that will be that next step in making electrified vehicles so much more acceptable to people. But why don't we go ahead? We've showed you everything. Let's open up that front mounted trunk area and see what Ram has in store for us for the Revolution. All right, guys, the last step in this whole Ram Revolution, I think that's going to be one of those big things that people gravitate towards, is that front mounted trunk. So you'll notice you get your usual space. Obviously, you'll have cooler capability with it. But the biggest thing, like I mentioned to you earlier, is you have that physical pass-through. Think about how that changes this whole area. Now you could have something that's a little bit longer that actually passes through from the front mounted trunk into the cab of the truck. I hate to, use puns, but that is a revolution there with this Ram Revolution. And then of course you have your power panel. Just like up at the back of the truck, you also have a power panel with that 120, the 220, and your auxiliaries all at the front. And then remember, we have everything sealed. So this is going to be watertight. And then of course we have that self-leveling system. You have the ability, like I said, to take that part of the infotainment system, scan an item, and see if it's going to fit and the weight is appropriate for your Ram Revolution. But it's things like this that we want to bring first to you. Exciting to be here at CES. Let me know what you think. Is this the EV truck that you want to park in your driveway, or are you going to go with one of the other big 3? Let me know down in that comment section. But I definitely want to thank Scott, Neil, Todd, the whole crew for getting us access to this Ram Revolution. If you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raiti's Rides family. Of course, we got to give it to the true muscle behind the lens, the person that electrifies everybody's life with that camera. Show Lori some love in that comment section. Thank you, Lori, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.